There's something absolutely magical about a song that's so wonderfully sincere, so delightfully over the top, that you can't help but smile every time you hear it. The 1960s gave us incredible, boundary-pushing music. But tucked between the timeless masterpieces were some beautifully charming #1 hits that made millions of people happy despite, or perhaps because of, their shameless corniness. Today, we're celebrating the top 15 lovably cheesy #1 songs from the 1960s.
It's you and I'm being good.
When Bobby Goldsboro's emotional ballad hit #1 in 1968, it stayed there for 5 weeks and became the biggest-selling record in the world that year. Written by Bobby Russell, this deeply sentimental song tells the story of a man fondly remembering his late wife, painting a picture of their life through sweet, everyday moments. The song, recorded in a single take, features Goldsboro's heartfelt vocals over a gentle acoustic guitar, a combination that resonated deeply with listeners. What makes it so memorable is its direct and powerful emotional storytelling, building a world of sweet memories before revealing the heartbreaking conclusion. While some critics found it overly sentimental, it sold over 1 million copies in its first 3 weeks, proving that sometimes a song that speaks directly to the heart is exactly what people need.
You are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you.
A cartoon band achieved something most real bands could only dream of. They had the #1 song in both America and the UK, Sugar. Sugar by the Archies was pure bubblegum pop perfection, so sweet and cheerful it was impossible to resist. The song was originally written for the Monkees, who reportedly passed on it for being too cheesy. Instead, it went to the fictional band from a Saturday morning cartoon, voiced by talented studio musicians. The irony is delicious. A cartoon band succeeded where a real manufactured band feared to tread. Producer Don Kirshner initially had radio programmers listen to the song without revealing who performed it. Only after they loved its infectious sound did he tell them the truth. The song's massive success proved that sometimes the most joyful and uplifting confections can bring the most genuine happiness. Ross Bagdasarian Sr. figured out how to manipulate tape speeds to make his voice sound like a squeaky rodent. From that simple innovation, a global phenomenon was born. The Chipmunks song, a #1 hit in 1958 that remained a chart staple into the 60s, is a masterpiece of charming novelty. It's a simple record about cartoon chipmunks eagerly awaiting Christmas. Bagdasarian, performing as David Seville, sped up his own voice to create the distinct personalities of Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. The song's infectious energy and the unforgettable Alvin shout made it an instant classic with kids and a beloved holiday tradition for families everywhere. Its beauty lies in its complete commitment to the fun, simple concept, proving that sometimes the silliest ideas can connect with people in the most enduring ways.
Your love is my reward. Dominique, I will follow Dominique, his burdens will...
In 1963, a Belgian nun became an unlikely international pop star when her song Dominique hit #1 in America. Performed under the name The Singing Nun, this French-language folk song about Saint Dominic was about as far from typical pop music as you could get. The song's gentle acoustic guitar and the performer's sweet, innocent voice created something that was simultaneously beautiful and charmingly out of place on the American pop charts. Here was a genuine nun, singing in French about a 13th century saint, somehow outselling the biggest rock and roll acts of the day. The song's appeal came from its complete cultural uniqueness. American teenagers were dancing to a song in a language they couldn't understand, performed by someone from a world of quiet devotion. The song stayed at #1 for 4 weeks, proving that pure, heartfelt sincerity, no matter how unusual, can sometimes resonate more powerfully than any commercial calculation. Percy Faith's instrumental version of Theme from a Summer Place was everything rock and roll was supposedly rebelling against. It was orchestral, grandly romantic, and completely traditional. Yet it spent an incredible 9 weeks at #1 in 1960, making it one of the longest-running chart toppers of the decade. The song's lush strings and dreamy cascading melody were pure old-fashioned romanticism, performed by a 50-year-old conductor for an audience that was supposedly all in on youth culture. It was magnificently out of step with the emerging rock scene, and that's exactly what made it so successful. What makes it so wonderful is its complete earnestness. There wasn't a trace of irony or rebellion in those soaring strings. It was unashamedly beautiful. Music that captured the mood of millions of Americans who weren't quite ready to abandon the romantic sophistication of earlier. Lee comes from the incredible performance by such a young artist. Here was a teenager singing about adult regret and heartbreak with an authority that was simply captivating. The contrast was both touching and impressive. Lee's performance was so committed and believable that you forgot how young she was, and the song's old-fashioned sentiment felt both timeless and sincere. It spent 3 weeks at #1, proving that a truly powerful vocal performance can connect with listeners of all ages.
Them bushes out there, they move, and there's an engine behind every one.
Larry Verne's 1960 novelty hit, Mr. Custer is told, from the perspective of a cowardly soldier comically pleading with his general to let him sit out a famous historical confrontation. The song was musically simple, unapologetically silly, and an absolute smash hit, reaching #1 on the charts. Its humor came from its complete irreverence, with Verne's character trying to avoid the famous battle with a variety of hilarious excuses, all delivered in a comedic country accent and punctuated with cartoonish sound effects. What makes it a classic of the genre is its total commitment to being fun. There was no deeper meaning or social commentary, just pure, light-hearted humor about a well-known historical tale. The song proved that audiences were more than willing to enjoy a good-natured laugh, even at their own history, if it was done with enough charm and enthusiasm.
Together now, tie me kangaroo down, sport. Tie me kangaroo down. Tie me kangaroo down, sport.
An Australian entertainer and artist brought his didgeridoo and his peculiar sense of humor to American radio in 1963 with the unforgettable Tie Me Kangaroo Down, Sport. The song was a collection of nonsensical, Australian-themed requests from a dying stockman, delivered with a distinctive accent and a jovial, friendly personality. The song is a classic because it makes no logical sense whatsoever, and that's the whole point. The requests are completely absurd, but the performer delivers each verse with such genuine, infectious enthusiasm that you can't help but be charmed by the complete nonsense. The addition of the didgeridoo and the habit of adding sport to the end of sentences made it feel like a fun and bizarre cultural exchange. It spent several weeks on the charts, proving that sometimes the most foreign and strange-sounding music can find a massive audience simply through a performer's infectious joy.
Dig this one. Darling, never go for pain. Don't you ever go.
In 1964, at the absolute peak of Beatlemania, 63-year-old jazz legend Louis Armstrong achieved one of the most unlikely chart victories in pop music history. He knocked the Beatles off the #1 spot with his recording of Hello Dolly and a show tune from a Broadway musical. It was a stunning and wonderful upset. Here was a jazz icon from the 1920s, a man old enough to be the Beatles' grandfather, beating the hottest band in the world with a song that was the definition of traditional. Armstrong's gravelly, warm voice and the classic jazz arrangement were everything the British invasion wasn't. Old-fashioned, comforting, and completely removed from the rebellious youth culture. And yet, his genuine enthusiasm and legendary charisma made the song absolutely irresistible to audiences of all ages. Armstrong's victory proved that an authentic and joyous personality could trump any trend, no matter how powerful. Lawrence Welk was the king of square television, and his 1961 #1 hit, Calcutta, was magnificently and unapologetically unhip. This instrumental harpsichord melody was performed with Welk's characteristic precision and old-world charm, making it the absolute antithesis of the raw energy of rock and roll. The song's simple, repetitive, and cheerful melody, along with its formal orchestration, represented everything that rock was rebelling against. It was polite, predictable, and completely lacking in danger or edginess. Yet it spent 2 weeks at #1, proving that there was still a massive audience for music that made no attempt whatsoever to be cool. What makes it so charming is its complete sincerity. Welk and his musicians played this simple tune as if it were a masterpiece, and their earnest professionalism somehow made it more endearing than annoying.
Pirate ships would lower their flags when Puff roared out, "'Tis the name, sing it now, Puff the Magic."
When Peter, Paul, and Mary's Puff the Magic Dragon became a hit in 1963, it created one of the most endearing and enduring controversies in pop music history. On its surface, this is a beautiful and gentle children's song about a boy and his imaginary dragon friend, and the melancholy of growing up. However, as it gained popularity, a persistent rumor began to spread that the song was secretly filled with hidden adult meanings and secret messages. The folk trio has always denied these interpretations. What makes the song so memorable is this very contrast between its nursery rhyme simplicity and the adult audience's determination to decode its supposed secret meanings. The controversy itself is a part of the song's charm, proving that sometimes the most innocent music can become fascinating simply because of the stories people tell about it. In 1962, the Tornadoes' hit Telstar was a song that truly sounded like it came from another world. It was an instrumental tribute to the world's first active communication satellite, and it was filled with electronic effects that were meant to sound futuristic. To modern ears, they might sound more like a malfunctioning radio, but at the time, they were revolutionary. The song's space-age theme and its primitive electronic sounds, created by the visionary producer Joe Meek, made it fascinatingly unique. Its appeal came from its complete commitment to its cheesy, optimistic, sci-fi aesthetic. Every electronic beep and whoosh was presented with total seriousness, as if this really was what music from space would sound like. The song hit #1, proving that sometimes even a dated vision of the future can be timelessly entertaining. This 1960 hit by Brian Hyland about a shy girl and her new swimwear was the absolute peak of novelty pop. It took a simple, relatable concept and stretched it into 3 minutes of pure, innocent fun. The song's playfully long title and its charmingly silly lyrics made it impossible to take seriously, which was exactly the point. Hyland's youthful voice and the song's bouncy rhythm, complete with a female voice chiming in, 2, 3, 4, tell the people what she wore, made it feel like a perfect teenage summer party. The song is a celebration of trivial, everyday moments, turning the simple act of wearing a bikini into a mini-narrative about modesty and young romance. It was a gloriously fun summer hit, and its complete lack of pretension made it more honest than most
purple people eater. Friendly little people eater. What a sight to see.
This 1958 novelty hit was so popular, its influence carried deep into the 1960s. The Purple People Eater is pure cartoon nonsense about a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater who comes to Earth to join a rock and roll band. The song's playful lyrics and Sheb Wooley's committed performance made it one of the most memorably ridiculous #1 hits of the era. Wooley, who was primarily a country singer and character actor, threw himself into the performance with complete enthusiasm, creating distinct, comical voices for both the narrator and the friendly monster. The song's absurd premise was delivered with such genuine fun that it was impossible to resist. Its genius lies in its complete embrace of silliness. It taps into that perfect, childlike logic where monsters can be friendly and the strangest things make perfect sense.
To the room. And as she walked up to the blackboard, I can still recall the words she had to say.
And at number 1, our pick for the greatest, awesomely bad song of the 1960s is a perfectly crafted piece of country pop drama about small-town hypocrisy that also doubles as a powerful anthem of female empowerment. The song tells the story of a widowed mother, Mrs. Johnson, who confronts the judgmental parents at her daughter's school after they send a note home criticizing her for her scandalous modern lifestyle. Riley's dramatic spoken word delivery makes the song feel like a 3-minute soap opera, complete with scandal, righteous indignation, and a satisfying finale. The song's success came from its brilliant combination of moral outrage and gossipy entertainment. It let listeners feel superior while enjoying the takedown of hypocrites. Riley's performance is so committed that she makes the melodrama feel genuine, building to a climactic confrontation at the P.T.A. meeting where she exposes the secret lives of her accusers. The song became a feminist anthem disguised as a country novelty, proving that sometimes the most effective social commentary comes wrapped in the most entertaining package: the power of unapologetic sincerity. These 15 songs represent something beautiful and often overlooked about popular music: the willingness to be completely sincere, even when that sincerity ventures into the ridiculous. They remind us that there's a profound difference between being bad and being unsuccessful. And sometimes, the most criticized music is the music that brings the most joy. While the serious artists of the 60s were pushing boundaries with complex lyrics and rebellious attitudes, these songs took the opposite approach. They were unashamed to be simple, emotional, accessible, or just plain silly. And in that, they found their own kind of truth. In a decade marked by so much upheaval and change, these gloriously cheesy songs offered a vital refuge, a place of comfort, escapism, and pure entertainment for millions of people who just wanted to feel good. They remind us that not every song needs to change the world. Sometimes it's enough to simply brighten someone's day.